All right, everybody, Dur here, and we are about to embark upon reading a short novel called Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. And she is an award winning author. And there is a hard copy of this book if you'd rather grab the hard copy and look at it in the chunks, or if you just would like to follow along as I read it. We're going to read it in three different chunks and then focused on a different skill for each of those particular chunks, and then talk about the whole thing together. So the book is called Love That Dog. It is a novel written in verse, which means each chapter is actually written in the form of a poem or a short work, which you'll find that we're really going to fly through this thing. And also, you should keep in mind that as we go through this here, you will see that it is set up sort of like a journal. So it's written chronologically. The narrator is going to take us through day by day. All right. So again, it's by Sharon Creech. It's called Love That Dog. And it is dedicated to Sandy and Jack Floyd, Mark and Karen Luthi Benjamin, Louise England, Rob Luthi, and all of whom love their dogs. So if you have a pet, specifically a dog that you love, you might be able to connect to it. But really, it's just sort of a great story of that sort of love that you have for something that really just makes your heart happy. All right, there's also a special thank you to Walter Dean Myers and all of the poets and Mr. and Mrs. Stretchberries who inspire students every day. So here we go. We've got our table of contents. Like I said, this is set up chronologically like a sort of journal. And so we're going to follow our narrator through this entire course of time. Jack, room 105, Miss Stretchberry, September 13th. I don't want to, because boys don't write poetry. Girls do. September 21st. I tried. Can't do it. Brain's empty. September 27th. I don't understand the poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens and why so much depends upon them. If that is a poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens, then any words can be a poem. You've just got to make short lines. October 4th. Do you promise not to read it out loud? Do you promise not to put it on the board? Okay, here it is, but I don't like it. So much depends upon a blue car, splattered with mud, speeding down the road. October 10th. What do you mean, why does so much depend upon a blue car? You didn't say before that I had to tell you why. The wheelbarrow guy didn't tell why. October 17th. What was up with the Snowy Woods poem you read today? Why doesn't the person just keep going if he's got so many miles to go before he sleeps? And why do I have to tell more about the blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road? I don't want to. I don't want to write about that blue car that had miles to go before it slept. So many miles to go in such a hurry. October 24th. I'm sorry to say, I did not really understand the Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright poem, but at least it sounded good in my ears. Here's the blue car with tiger sounds. Blue car, shining bright, in the darkness of the night. Who could see you speeding by, like a comet in the sky? I could see you in the night, blue car, shining bright. I could see you speeding by, like a comet in the sky. Some of the tiger sounds are still in my ears like drums, beat, beat, beating. October 31st. Yes, you could put the two blue car poems on the board, but only if you don't put my name on them. November 6th. They look nice typed up like that on blue paper on a yellow board, but still don't tell anyone who wrote them, okay? And what does anonymous mean? Is it good? November 9th. I don't have any pets, so I can't write about one. And especially, I can't write a poem about one. November 15th. Yes, I used to have a pet. I don't want to write about it. You're going to ask me why not, right? November 22nd. Pretend I still have that pet. Can't I make up a pet? A different one, like a tiger or a hamster or a goldfish, turtle, snail, worm, flea? November 29th. I liked those small poems we read today. When they're small like that, you can read a whole bunch in a short time, and then your head are all the pictures of all the small things from all the small poems. I liked how the kitten leaped in the cat poem and how you could see the long head of the horse in the horse poem. And I especially liked the dog in the dog poem because that's just how my yellow dog used to lie down, with his tongue all limp and his chin between his paws, and how he'd sometimes chomp at a fly and then sleep in his loose skin. Just like that poem Miss Valerie Worth says in her small dog poem. December 4th. Why do you want to type up what I wrote about reading the small poems? It's not a poem, is it? I guess you could put it on the board if you want to, but don't put my name on it in case other people think it's not a poem. December 13th. I guess it does look like a poem when you see it typed up like that, but I think maybe it would look better if there was more space between the lines, like how I wrote it the first time. And I liked the picture of the yellow dog you put beside it. But that's not how my yellow dog looked. January 10th. I really, really, really did not get the pasture poem you read today. I mean, somebody's going out to the pasture to clean the spring and get the little tottery calf while he's out there, and he isn't going to be gone long, and he wants you, who is you, to come too. I mean, really. And then you said Mr. Robert Frost, who wrote about the pasture, was also the one who wrote about those snowy woods and the miles to go before he sleeps. Well, I think Mr. Robert Frost has a little too much time on his hands. January 17th. Remember the wheelbarrow poem you read the first week of school? Maybe the wheelbarrow poet was just making a picture with words, and someone else, like maybe his teacher, typed it up, and then people thought it was a poem because it looked like one typed up like that. And maybe that same thing happened with Mr. Robert Frost. Maybe he was just making pictures with words about the snowy woods and the pastor and his teacher and typed them up, and they looked like poems. So people thought they were poems, like how you did with the blue car things and reading the small poems thing on the board typed up. They look like poems, and the other kids are looking at them and they think they really are poems. And they're all saying, "Who wrote that?" January 24th. We were going for a drive, and my father said, "We won't be gone long. You come too." And so I went, and we drove and drove until we stopped at a red brick building with a sign and blue letters, Animal Protection Shelter. And inside we walked down a long cement path past cages with all kinds of dogs, big and small, fat and skinny, some of them hiding in the corner, but most of them barking, and jumping up against the wire cage as we walked past, as if they were saying, me, choose me, I'm the best one. And that's where we saw the yellow dog, standing against the cage with his paws curled around the wire and his long red tongue hanging out and his big black eyes looking a little sad and his long tail wagging as if he were saying, me, choose me. And we did. We chose him. And in the car, he put his head against my chest and wrapped his paws around my arm as if he were saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the other dogs in the cages get killed dead if nobody chooses them. January 31st. Yes, you could type up what I wrote about my yellow dog, but leave off the part about the other dogs getting killed dead because that's too sad. And don't put my name on it, please. And maybe it would look good on yellow paper. And maybe the title should be You Come Too. February 7th. Yes, it looks good on yellow paper, but you forgot, again, to leave more space between the lines like I did when I wrote it. That's okay, though. February 15th. I like that poem we read today about street music in the city. My street is not in the middle of the city, so it doesn't have that loud music of horns and trucks, clash, flash, screech. My street is on the edge of a city, and it has quiet music most of the time. Wisp, meow, swish. My street is a thin one with houses on both sides, and my house is the white one with the red door. There's not too much traffic on my street, like in the middle of a city. Not like in the middle of a city, excuse me. We play in the yards and sometimes in the street, but only if a grown up or the big kids are out there too. And they will shout, "Car!" if they see a car coming down our street. At both ends of our street are yellow signs that say, "Caution, children at play." But sometimes the cars pay no attention and speed down the road as if they are in a big hurry with many miles to go before they sleep. All right, we're going to stop right there for the end of chunk one. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. There's a couple of activities for you to go ahead and do next. So just make sure you follow along in the pathway. And if you need to come back and reread any of this or listen to it again, feel free to do so.